It looks like both players are actually preparing to take a fifth base each, so this is very much a macro game now. Destination, I believe there are only 12 expansions total, so pretty soon all of them are going to be
Indeed.
taken, at this rate anyway.
Indeed, and you can kind of see on the mini map the basically the effect of this as we get a complete north versus south. But wow, we're seeing a lot of push up here right now for Light, and he does look concerned. Upmagic seems to be pushing right up to this natural, and I do not see the forces necessary on the ground to really contend with this. But at the same time, it looks like Light's defense is relatively stalwart, as Upmagic's having a time of it trying to make his way across the bridge, being assaulted by tanks as he does so, without that many units to spot. So it looks like he is temporarily going to be stalled right outside of the natural expansion.
It's going to be interesting to see what Light does to get rid of this. He could conceivably load up his dropships and then just drop all over that force, but Upmagic is pulling back now. I think he can be pretty satisfied with the damage he did there. That definitely is going to slow down any sort of offensive move from Light other than, say, a drop. He's certainly going to have a difficult time crawling out across the map with his tanks.
Yeah, most definitely. I'd have to agree. And it looks like Light is going to go ahead and start moving SCVs into position to start up that expansion that he just constructed or moved into place. So we'll have to see what the next move is for Upmagic. He's got all of those dropships on the prowl, and I can only imagine that at this point it's going to be a matter of where he's deciding where he's going to strike next.
And it's another thing to consider. Wait a minute, Upmagic's building wraiths again too. We haven't seen them in a while, but it looks like he's got some wraiths hanging out by his starport, and it'll be interesting to see if he can make any tactical use of those. What I was about to say before noticing that, though, is it's going to also be interesting to see whether Upmagic does decide to use his drop to attack, which is what he's doing, or if he's going to hold his dropships in defense, because usually whoever drops last has the advantage in the confrontation. But Upmagic is deciding to be the aggressor here, and he is going to force that new expansion to lift.
Indeed, which is very, very important as far as maintaining the balance, I suppose, in terms of the economy that Light was trying to try and run away with. At this point, looking at the unit counting station, this is a stunningly even game right now at the 20-minute mark, with both of these players right at around 130 supply. It looks like now it's starting to diverge somewhat, but it's still it's anyone's game at this point, as the map is almost divided cleanly in.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see how these players decide to attack, because, well, once all of these bases are taken, and it looks like Upmagic is setting up to take the last one on his side of the map, that diagonally divided map from top left to bottom right. Upmagic looks like he's taking the last one on his side. Light seems to have all of the ones on his. So at some point, they're not going to be fighting for. They're not going to be fighting over untaken expansions. They're going to be fighting, to displace the other players' expansions, or to destroy their army and win the game that way. It's going to be very interesting. Whoa! Hold that thought. 3 more starports going up for Light. That's going to bring the total to 5, and I think that can only mean one of 2 things. And more armories going up too. That can mean we're going to see some air upgrades, and we're probably going to see some battle cruisers. Although there is the slight possibility of mass cloaked raids, and Upmagic doing the same thing, massing some starports of his own. Here's where I think this is going to get exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually I just got really, really excited personally. This is going to be really interesting. I'm very curious to see whether or not we're going to see some battlecruiser play, and if it does get to that point, it looks like control tower is going down, and it looks like Light is actually in the process of throwing down control towers on each of those starports. I can only imagine that we are going to see some battlecruisers come into play, and this could be just absolutely ridiculous.
Battlecruisers are the only thing that can be coming into play if there are 5 starports with control towers. Don't think we're going to be seeing massive vessels or dropships, though. Mass vessels would be funny, And now Light is dropping to displace that force of Upmagic's and take that base of his back at the 10 o'clock position. See how he's able to do with that. He seems to have a lot of forces available to commit to it, so I think he'll be able to get that back. And it is going to help him immensely to have that expansion, so he'll be able to keep up his battlecruiser production.
Indeed, and it looks like at the same time Upmagic is loading up for a drop, but he's been spotted in this, and they're dropping at essentially the same time. We're seeing this in first person from Upmagic's view, but now we're being shifted out. It looks like Light is actually taking significant losses, pulling SCVs off the line to help fight, and we know how that's going to end. Losing tons of SCVs at this point is Light to the tank force that is being dropped by Upmagic, and this expansion is in a lot of trouble right now. Upmagic with a very strong push out onto the map, going to affect a ton of damage, and I don't know how Light is going to be able to respond to this. I think that Upmagic needs to go ahead and displace a few more of those tanks and actually really hurry up and try and move those Goliaths into play, maybe even put that command center in more danger than it's in currently.
The place that Upmagic decided to drop there was absolutely brilliant, because from there he can shell that third expansion, he can walk into that fourth expansion in the top right corner if he wants, and he's also sieged up on the gas at the natural and taken that out, and the gas is going to be so important. The lack of that natural expansion gas is really going to hurt Light's tech to battle cruisers, so Upmagic really spot on with his decision making there and choosing where to plant that drop. Brilliant move there.
Yeah, I'm forced to agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying there. And it looks like Light has amassed the dropships to go ahead and encounter that drop. And at the same time, Upmagic dropping in a different position, but losing quite a few of his dropships, as well as his forces getting cleaned out by turrets and Goliaths, running into a brick wall there, the stalwart defense from Light. So just kind of, it looks like the force that was at that expansion point is also gone. So now Light, having recovered a little bit in terms of equaling out the unit count maybe somewhat, but now the battle cruisers are starting to hit the field, and this is going to be exciting.
Oh yeah, well, once those players get their battlecruiser fleets operational, as it were, it's going to change the name of this game entirely. All of this dropship play is going to get phased out in favor of the space cows, and kind of wondering what Light was doing there, just flying those dropships over turrets, maybe just to do a little bit of aggressive scouting, but he also might even just be freeing up some food,
some cap space,
so he can build more battle cruisers.
Yeah, it's entirely possible, and I can't wait I can already hear the Yamato cannons firing in my own head. It's just it's just a default reaction. Fortunately, it looks like for Light, that expansion that took the most damage, his natural expansion, was mined out. He does, however, lose the opportunity to mine that gas, and that, as you mentioned earlier, that's going to be crucial in terms of getting his battlecruiser count up. You can already see Upmagic having taken a firm lead in having his battlecruisers both out first, as well as having a massive superior number in a shorter period of time.
That's true, though. I believe Light has a couple of more starports. I think he has 5 starports to Upmagic's 4, so at some point I think that Light is going to be able to equalize the battlecruiser numbers if Upmagic lets him.